Alright, so wiring wise, is the fan wired long enough? So we put that at its farthest extent. Stick underneath. At some point it would be a fine idea to mount the electronics. Good enough. We have access to the SD card and the USB slot. This is the TXRX, just powering my little display off there. I'm just going to keep that handy because it's nice for debugging. Wiring wise, power wires coming out. This guy I'm just going to have hanging off the front. I'll make a mount for it at some point, but I'm not going to worry about it until it's working. XYZ extruder down here. Fan wires, the hot end wires are coming through here. This is the hot end fan, and it looks like we have 2 fan connectors there. Is that correct? G19 and 21. So the hot end cooling fan, or the print cooling fan would be P8. I'm guessing that 19 and 21 are just always on. So you don't have any, the J is the connector. We don't have a call out for it. So my guess is these are just both always on. So we plug in there, have an always on hot end extruder fan. It's okay. We do have, I guess these are the end stops. There. And more to the point, the wire will reach. The wire will pretty much reach the heated bed connection too. And extending a wire isn't exactly difficult. It's just nice when things plug in. Other stuff from the hot end that come through the same way. The extruder temp is P0 down here. Heater 0. So we have controlled fan, power in, hot end heater, LCD that you don't really need, thermistor, and the extruder plugged in. The only other wires we're going to have are the X, Y, and Z motors. So Z being your belt, X your, and Y is the arm. I think I'm just going to, since these actually plug in, I'm just going to coil the wires up. Z motor is your belt. And then our X motor barely reaches, but he never moves, so that's okay. And you can also just come on the inside. Actually, that might be a... we're going to do that because you can take the entire X-axis off, so you can travel with the machine. And the Y as well, we're going to go straight up, just because I want to make sure there's no pinch points with it. But that is the entirety of the wiring for this machine. X, Y, Z, extruder, belt, X and Y, belt, X and arm, the extruder, hot end thermistor down here at the bottom. Fan is in an always on port for now. I think we're going to move him over to beds minus. Basically, we'll see where it's mapped in the firmware. That's a firmware update. I make these guys friends. I'd like to see a frame tie for these, just in general, but that's alright. Anytime you're doing wiring, especially when you have the thermistor wire, the very bottom of it is always really vulnerable to repetitive stress and snapping off. If we zip tie here, you have the solder joint, or the joint between the thermistor cable and the thermistor itself locked away. I'd like to do a similar thing with this guy. Just enough wire where I think it's okay. We basically don't want to have any pinch points on the wires if you can help it. Keep in mind, I have the hot end as far away and as high as possible. So we want this to be short, but long enough to function. And luckily they give you enough that if you do make a mistake on there, you have some extra. And the real fix is we should just probably make that wire longer, but I kind of like it. I don't want to get the thing printing, and yeah, tweaks and tuning can always be done later. I'm going to run some tests on the axes, finish this video out, and then we'll do some commissioning, tuning next time. Happy printing, guys. Happy printing, guys.